Oklahoma wrestler Matt Grice made his UFC debut in 2007 and quickly garnered acclaim for his tenacity and ability to put on a show. But everything in Grice's world changed on September 8, 2013, when a horrifying car accident left the veteran fighter in a month-long coma. During those dark hours and in the subsequent days and weeks that followed, Matt Grice was the very personification of courage and resolve.
Matt, as a kid, was very energetic.
I just played sports growing up my whole life. Wrestled, baseball, football. I even played soccer when I was a little kid. Anything that involved energy, I did. You know, I love working with people and helping people, and in the police department, just doing my normal job. It, fit me perfectly, and it's what I enjoy.
For him, being a police officer mostly wasn't about, going out and patrolling. It was more about how was he going to serve people in Oklahoma City.
I wanted to continue to compete. MMA was the next step, so that's what I took.
It was exciting to get to see him in his passion and competing again, and he was really happy. When
the UFC called, I was extremely excited. I mean, the UFC is top-notch, and it led to bigger and better.
And here we go. This is the best striking we've seen from Matt Grice. Grice is really doing a good job, and he's This is the best version of Matt Grice we've ever seen inside the octagon. What a fight! What a fight! This crowd is on its feet!
My last fight with Dennis Bermudez, we won Fight of the Night, and I just feel like I was getting to my peak, to be the best fighter I've ever been.
That was absolutely incredible!
I was training for the fight at UFC 166, and I felt incredible. Training was going perfect. I was in great shape. Everything was going good, and it just, blink of an eye, some guy not paying attention. I was on my way home and stopped at a red light. Guy was going 65 miles per hour when he hit me.
Got a phone call from Matt's dad. He called and said that Matt had been in an accident and that they were rushing him to OU trauma. When we got to the hospital, it was just chaos there. The hospital was flooded with friends and family, and there were so many officers there, and I didn't know who knew what, but I was just scrambling for answers.
What about a blood pressure, pulse rate? Anybody got a pulse?
His condition was serious enough that I think the doctors really didn't even have a lot of answers at the time, and so family didn't know, his friends didn't know, and we just sat around together and waited.
I hadn't heard from the medical team yet. I had no idea how severe it was until the doctor came out and said he's had a brain bleed, needs to have emergency surgery. We waited about 2.5 hours, and the surgeon came out, and he said he may not make it through the night. And they started asking me questions like, is he an organ donor? And they did what they could.
They told us that it didn't look good, and we were all worried that he might not make it through this. And I was worried for him, his family, his girls.
First thing in my mind was my kids and what we're gonna do without him. And sorry.
I didn't know if he could hear me, but I'm getting chills thinking about this. But I would always talk to him and tell him, Matt, you are in for the fight of your life right now, buddy. This is it. You've been training all your life. Now's the time.
I didn't have the heart to tell my kids how severe it was. They knew he was asleep, and he was. He was asleep for 3 weeks before he woke up, but when he woke up, he wasn't himself.
When he woke up, he did not know Caroline or the girls.
Anytime you have half of your skull removed, you have a lot of deficits. He was pretty impaired.
The first memory I have that is just haunts me is that the first thing I remember is not remembering that I had kids and I was married. My oldest came up to me and said her name. I don't know how it was done, but I didn't even remember that she was my daughter. I can't even imagine being a 6-year-old girl and having your dad, who you've been with, you know, through thick and thin, not even remember who you are.
I knew once Matt was awake that his drive and his determination would push him through this recovery and do what he could to get out of the hospital and to get out of therapy and so that he could be with his family.
He needed help with everything he did, getting up out of bed, standing, sit up on the side of the bed, go to the bathroom.
I was like a newborn baby. I couldn't even hold my head up. So when a therapist was holding my head up, you know, and if they let it go, I just dropped.
Matt required about maximum assistance for most of his self-care tasks because of his balance and his cognition.
Going from where I was in such good shape, and then I wake up and I'm in horrible shape and I can't even walk or, you know, can't hold things in my hand or anything. So it was definitely different, you know, so I have to find a new normal.
With a lot of severe brain injuries like his, sometimes I don't see as good as recovery as I did with Matt.
Things that seem unimaginable or impossible for your average person, Matt just climbs right over them.
When we started to incorporate his boxing into therapy, his eyes just lit up and he just turned into a whole new person.
I wanted to be able to show my kids that you can go make it through anything as long as you can just push through.
I think his fighting spirit definitely helped him.
He was driven to get better, so he got better.
My goal is to be as good and supportive as I can for my wife and kids, because that's my life, you know.
He's an amazing father.
My wife has been a trooper. That's what the fight in me is what kept me alive and kept me pushing through. She's a strong lady. I still have things, you know, like my memory is still in and out, you know, and I mentally fatigue a lot faster, and everything I do that used to be second nature, as of driving or anything, I now have to just think about it, you know, and think about what I'm doing and where I'm going and all that. So the mental fatigue is always there.
I want him to have a long, prosperous life.
He wants to be back with the guys. He wants to be back in the uniform. He wants to be back out there on the streets helping his community.
Like we all say, he's pretty lucky.
I would describe his recovery as miraculous.
He has made an amazing recovery.
We had so many doctors and people telling us he wasn't going to make it, or he's going to not be able to walk or talk, you know, he's going to be a vegetable. No.